in this problem, we want to express in the language of probabilities a statement made by Sherlock Holmes, who said that when we exclude everything that is impossible, then whatever remains, however improbable, must be true. So one way to think about this is to consider the set A to be the set of all the possible scenarios that Sherlock Holmes considers. And we're going to suppose, so this is our A here, and we're going to suppose that the set of, we're going to suppose that Sherlock Holmes is very clever and he considers every possible scenario that could have occurred. In other words, the probability of A is 1. So one of these scenarios has occurred. Then Sherlock Holmes observes some evidence E. So E is our evidence. And once Sherlock Holmes observes some of this evidence, some of these scenarios that Sherlock Holmes considered become impossible. So let's call these scenarios here B. So under our evidence, these scenarios in B become impossible. And now we can rewrite our set A as the union of B and the set difference of A and B. And so the probability of A under our evidence, once the evidence is observed, can be rewritten as the probability of B under our evidence plus the probability of A minus B, the set difference of A and B under the evidence. And since Sherlock Holmes considers now these scenarios in B impossible, the probability of B under the evidence is 0. So the probability of A under the evidence now is just the probability of A minus B under the evidence, which is in turn equal to 1, because our assumption was that Sherlock Holmes considers all the possible scenarios. So if we assume that the probability of the evidence is 1, in other words, the evidence is real, it definitely occurs, and Sherlock Holmes believes it, then this equation here, this equation here can be rewritten as probability of A equals probability of A minus B. And this in turn equals 1. So what this implies now is that whatever remains, that the set A minus B that remains here, the scenarios that are left after we had observed our evidence, the probability of that set of scenarios is 1, meaning one of those scenarios has to have occurred. So whatever remains must be true, as corroborated by Sherlock Holmes.